Hello, everyone, and welcome in. Today is Monday, August 14th, and I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. And I'm here to do your single card pull to see what messages God, Spirit, the Divine has in store for you for today and what advice they're going to give. One of the things that I'm starting to work on, and I've gotten all of the messaging right, but decisions. Uh, so I would love to hear feedback from people about what they think. These are custom oracle cards that I'm making, but I'm trying to decide style wise of which one I want to do. So having them painted like this, where it looks more like a planet in the middle, and you can see there's like stars, like the black with the stars, and this one says, look for beauty in the rain. And it's a little bit harder to read the messaging on it. Or then there's this one where it's just that marbled look that's, the inside of the planet, but it says, thank you for the lesson. So this one pops out a little bit more, but I don't know. Is this one more boring than this one? So if you have thoughts one way or the other, I would love to hear it if you wanted to drop it in the comments. So I guess I'm jumping the gun a little bit on the new moon that's happening on the 16th. So that's about creative new projects. So I've been thinking about it for a while, that I've had that blank deck for quite some time, and I came up with all the messaging over the weekend. So it's going to be about 50 new oracle cards with messages like that, and then 20 timing cards. So if we're looking at things and we're having questions for God or the divine about timing, then we'll have some answers on those cards. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in and see what all messages are coming through. We'll start with our fire signs. So that's going to be our Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And what does the divine want you to know for today, for Monday? Judgment. So the judgment card, and it usually has to do with favorable judgment by the divine. So it's not something that you should be scared of. It's more of a matter of, okay, if this is the end of the cycle, so this is card number 20 in the major arcana, and the next one is the world, and that's kind of the completion of the lesson. So this is, I look at it this way: when the judgment card comes out, it's kind of like you're taking a look at whatever lesson it is that you're supposed to be learning. Have you learned it? Judgment is, and there's also that sense of judgment is coming in. So if somebody has done you wrong, having the faith or trust that divine judgment is coming in your favor, the wrongs will be righted. You're clearing karma. It's that sort of feeling. And it's also about like an awakening, and kind of a little bit of that renewal or like rebirth type of energy that, you've gotten to the end of the lesson and there's that aha moment. So let's take a look at your moon card. The energy is gaining momentum. So that goes along with this rebirth and renewal. You've gotten to the end stages of an important lesson that you've been working on, and judgment is coming, and the scales will be balanced, so to speak, and your energy is gaining momentum. So in your mind, you probably have been wrestling with something, and you're starting to kind of gain traction in one direction, and it's gaining momentum for you. So let's take a look at our soul journey card, freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. So some of this messaging coming through is like there's been this situation and you feel like you've had no control over it. You feel like you've been trapped, and you've been trying to break free, but you don't really know how. Whatever that may look like, whether it's a job, whether it's a friendship, family dynamics, relationship, and divine judgment is coming in. So it's being pushed in the right direction, and it's gaining that momentum to give you that freedom. Let's take a look at our light worker card. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? And this is, the message always speaks more powerfully to me when I'm looking at it and, I'm going to put these, oops, I guess it slides in the other direction on this tablecloth. When the colors all line up, the message speaks louder. Like these were intended to go together. So when we're looking at it, where you're gaining that momentum to be able to get your freedom because you have reached a point of realizing that you shouldn't be dimming your light. You shouldn't be sacrificing your own happiness. You shouldn't be making yourself small to make other people feel more comfortable. You are absolutely entitled to take up every bit as much space as anybody else. So don't dim your light just so that other people feel more comfortable. In fact, you standing in your power and you taking up that space, you're actually giving strength to other people around you to be able to live their authentic true self as well. If they're seeing you kind of shrinking and dimming and, oh, let's just play nice, don't want to ruffle any feathers, then all it does is perpetuate that feeling across the collective. If you can stand up and say, no, this is what I want, this is the direction I want to go in, that empowers other people to do the same. So that was for our fire signs. Next is our earth sign. So that's going to be our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Let's see what messages are coming through for you. The world. So this is the end of a cycle. And it's, kind of that triumph. You've learned that lesson. You've moved on. You kind of have that fulfillment or that validation. So something is coming to conclusion. And usually this is more of that positive type of feel. The tower is something that has come to conclusion, but it's abrupt and usually it feels bad. So this is more of a feel good. And some of it could be a matter of, and it's interesting if you take a scenario like losing, say it's a relationship ending. On one hand, it could be that tower moment where it's like so disruptive and oh my gosh, and that you're just kind of left with that feeling of, oh, what do I do with this? I don't know what my next steps are. That same thing, that relationship ending, can also be symbolized by the world. But the difference between the two is between them, you have the tower and then you have the star, the moon, the sun, then judgment, then the world. By the time it gets to the point of it being the world, you have a sense of, hey, you know what? This cycle has played out. It's done what it's supposed to do. There's more of a sense of peace to it, I guess. So whatever in your life is ending, this is that confirmation that it's according to divine timing and according to divine will. And that's the path that it needs to go on. Whatever's ending, whatever lesson has been learned and drawn to completion. So this next one, your commitment is being tested. So this card, it's kind of like, okay, something's coming to an end, and it was something, maybe that you had been manifesting, because since this has more of a positive feel than, the tower is kind of like, oh my gosh, out of nowhere, this happened. So with this being the world, it's more of, this is something you've been manifesting, something you've been wanting, you've been feeling like the lesson is coming together and this is coming to an end. It's coming to an end, but your commitment is being tested from the perspective of, will you hold yourself to that lesson ending, or are you going to end up getting sucked back in? So, if it's a job, maybe you've tried to quit the job before and it's like, all right, I'm giving my 30 days notice and then I'm done because this just isn't serving me anymore. But then always, halfway into it, there's some disaster emergency. Oh my gosh, but it's really going to hurt the customers if you're not able to do this, or hurt your patients or whatever. And so it's like, okay, fine. I'll stay a little bit longer. I'll get this cleaned up. And then the next thing you know, you're like, gosh darn it, I just got roped into staying for another 3 months. I didn't want to do that. So your commitment is being tested to, if I've learned my lesson and I've decided it's time to be done and start a new chapter, start a new whatever, your commitment is being tested. Are you really ready to let go? You've completed that cycle. So are you ready to say that cycle's done? Close the door on that one and let's start something new. All right. Your soul journey card, judgment. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. So this judgment card is about again, if there's something that's come to conclusion, come to fruition, this the soul journey card of, everyone's on their own path, and respecting whatever that looks like, and not to judge people for it, because everybody chose whatever lessons they were needing to learn in this life. And sometimes, people's lessons come out different, they play out different, and if you don't learn whatever that lesson was that you had said, this is what you're going to do in this lifetime, the universe will give you that lesson in a slightly different form or through a different person. So, don't judge anybody else about how their lessons are playing out for them. All right. And your light worker card, Pillar of Light, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. And that goes with, being able to embody that strength to say, hey, I'm learning certain lessons. I'm moving through. I'm not getting stuck in this 3D rut. And again, like I had said with the last one, that when these color schemes all flow together, the message resonates so much stronger because it feels like it's one cohesive message coming through when it looks like it all goes together. So, it could be that part of this lesson that you're wrapping out was rolled up into this ball of judgment, and you are judging, the other person, the other people in this situation. And it's really neat to step back and take a look and say, you know what, they're on their challenges. It's not my job to fix their path or tell them what their path is. I'm going to walk beside them and let them choose their path. And similarly, I need to choose my own path. So, all right, let's take a look at our water signs. So that's our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and let's see what message God has for you. All right, Spirit, let's see. The Hermit. So your Hermit energy is going to be that introspection, a little bit of that antisocial energy, but it's because you're going within and you're kind of on that path of self-discovery. So you've been, and you had a couple of jumper cards. They flipped over here. A time to give rather than take, and what do you need to release? So these were the two jumper cards. And this Hermit and what do you need to release, that really goes along with these retrogrades that are happening. So we still have 4 planets in retrograde, Pluto, Venus, Neptune, and Saturn. And then within the next 2 weeks, we have Mercury going in retrograde on the 23rd, and I believe it's the Uranus goes in retrograde on like the 27th or the 28th. So we've got a lot of retrogrades happening that's having you turn inward and seeing what needs to be released so that I can live, my best life, my life, true to myself. And so when you're in this kind of secluded type of energy and introspection, it's also talking about, it's a time to give rather than to take. Let me pull a real one too. Be bold and make the first move. So as you're trying to figure things out, being more in an energy of, okay, well, what can I do to give? What can I do from a place of love? And that be bold and make the first move that's kind of saying to the universe, I've decided what I need to do. What do I need to release? I've thought about it, and I want to step forward in love. I want to step forward in my authenticity. So I'm going to be bold. I'm going to make that move, and I'm going to start by giving and starting in that place of gratitude. So, all right, let's take a look at your soul journey card, Surrender. I can release my need to control. So part of this, when you get into this hermit mode, this really is about surrender. As you're looking at what do I need to release, and these two pair nicely together, the what do I need to release, and just surrender to the universe and say, you know what, certain things do or don't feel right in my body. I'm surrendering those things that don't feel right. I'm going to release them and just take that deep breath and surrender and say, I know that good things are on the horizons, and I know that this is happening for a reason. And your light worker card, unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So again, that goes with what do you need to release? It's these soul contracts, it's these past lives, and unburden yourself from that energy that you're carrying forward. And South Node moved into Libra middle of July, and your South Node is all about what baggage are you carrying forward, either from past lives or earlier in this life, that needs to be released so that you can find harmony, so that you can live on your true path and live in your authentic self. So last but not least, we have our air signs. So that is our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and that is coming through. Oh, here, let me push these up out of the way a little bit. The Magician. So that is about transforming lead into gold and being resourceful and transmuting that heavy negative energy. I realize this video is getting kind of a little long. Okay, a personal issue reaches resolution. So this is full moon in Cancer. So, and it's funny because this is a blue moon, and at the end of the month on the 30th and 31st, we do have the blue moon in, I think it's in Pisces actually, but it is a blue moon and it's a super moon. So there's some personal issue that's reaching resolution for you, I would say, by the blue moon. And it's really going to depend on you being able to transform some of this negative energy into positive energy. If you've been wrestling with something for a while, it's going to be reaching resolution. Oh, apparently I pulled two cards. Indecision and happiness. So indecision, I use my intuition in all aspects of life. And happiness, I'm aware that being happy means that I am on the right path. So again, this is part of that intuition. Those two go really well together. And actually, again, as we're looking at how these all flow together with those blues and some of those purples, your personal issue reaching resolution is based on the fact that you're sitting in more of a position of happiness and saying that if I'm happy, that means I'm on the right path. So if you've been unhappy, it means you're on the wrong path. And this Magician energy of how do you turn that unhappiness into happiness, those are all going together. And this indecision that I'm using my intuition. So the way you combat the indecision is I use my intuition in all aspects of my life. So listen to that little voice, to that quiet voice that's trying to talk to you. And your light worker card is Priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? And so some of this with this happiness and being on the right path and this personal issue reaching resolution, you're not going to get to this Priestess energy if you have all these things that are draining and all these things that are pulling you back. So that's a matter of needing to be able to find your conclusion so that you can move into that Priestess energy. So I hope you found today's reading helpful, and as always, take only what resonates with you and check out the other individual sign readings that posted yesterday as well. So I wish you peace and joy along your journey, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.